Today we'll be covering Incredible Hulk issues 4 and 5, where the Man-Thing is going to start questioning what is Hulk doing. We're in Florida now. Rain pours in the sky as Juke walks down the street, drinking from a can of beer that he bought at a gas station behind him. He sings to himself softly, but he stops as a voice calls out to him from the wetlands to his right. "Juke, is that you?" the woman says. Juke turns in surprise, dropping his can as he recognizes the woman from his past. "Ashley?" he gasps. "Are you finally gonna drive me home? Come on, where's the truck? It's raining." Ashley whispers, and Juke staggers forward, trying to remind Ashley that they totaled his truck in the past, when they drove drunk all those years ago. "Don't worry about that, honey," she whispers as he apologizes, stepping into the water, reaching out for her as she begins to move away, and he walks deeper and deeper. "Don't worry about that. I'll never leave you again," she tells him. But something grabs him from beneath the waters. It pulls him down and the water rushes over him. Juke begins to scream into the night, but no one notices but the frogs. Days later, Bruce Banner and Charlie have arrived in a small Florida town. Charlie is surprised at the rain-soaked village. "I thought it'd be prettier, I guess. It's the ocean, right?" she asks, and Bruce shrugs. "Sort of. The wetlands aren't exactly a vacation spot, Charlie. It's mostly marshes, mosquitoes, hurricanes," Bruce tells her, and they both look up at the old folks sitting on a nearby porch. Their eyes are almost glowing in the lights of the passing traffic, and Bruce returns to the conversation about how Charlie should be doing something else with her life. But she just gets angry, shouting at him, telling him to stop trying to get rid of her. The truck that is giving them a ride passes through the town and finally drops them off at a fast food joint. Inside, Bruce and Charlie take a seat. "You should eat something," Bruce points out, but Charlie just snaps at him again. Bruce just stares at her. "What are you looking at?" she snaps again. "I was wondering if you're really this pissed all the time or if you're just putting on a show you think the Hulk will like," Bruce says, and he points out that maybe Charlie thinks that staying with Bruce will give her Hulk powers, as if she'll be infected by his gamma radiation. "It's more complicated than that. You're not getting Hulk powers, not ever," he tells her. He questions whether she is staying with him out of some misguided need for a father figure instead. "But you don't need the Hulk to escape your life. You did it yourself," Bruce points out before getting up. "Rest up. I'm going to get us some food," he tells her, leaving her at the table as he heads for the counter. Charlie glares for a moment, but exhaustion begins to overtake her and she starts to nod off at the table. The sound of a new cast droning behind her. She misses the part where they talk about her father's death and how she's the #1 subject. She snaps awake as a teen brings her a meal. "Magic burger combo," he says with a smile. Charlie looks at him in shock, questioning where Bruce is. "The guy you came in with? He bought your burger and he left," the kid tells her. Charlie tries to get up, realizing that the people are looking at her suspiciously, and she heads out into the rain. Meanwhile, Bruce is walking down the street, pulling his jacket tighter against the rain as he passes through the wetlands. A noise grabs his attention and he looks up in shock. "Holy God, you're..." He begins to gasp, his eyes widening. Not far off, Charlie is running through the rain, shouting for Bruce and Hulk to wait for her, to not leave her alone. "Bruce, I think I'm in trouble!" she shouts, but it's not Bruce's voice that answers. "Charlie?" the small voice says from the wetlands. Charlie turns in shock to see her little brother, long dead, standing in the water nearby. "I'm sorry I got you in trouble," the young boy says, reaching out for her, asking her to pick him up, like she always used to do. Meanwhile, Bruce is looking as the Man-Thing raises out of the water in front of him. "I know you, Man-Thing. You guard the Nexus of reality," Bruce tells him. And the creature suddenly reaches out for him, grabbing a hold of Bruce, bringing him into his body. Man-Thing pauses for a moment after Bruce disappears, but suddenly his body begins to twist as the green limbs of the Hulk tear their way free. With a bellow of anger, Hulk tears apart the Man-Thing. "Stupid plant. Should have," Hulk begins to say, but he looks around and realizes that he isn't in the real world. Nearby, Ted Sallis walks towards the green giant. "That's right, Hulk. You're in the Nexus with me. I'm sorry to bring you here the way I did, but I need to speak with you with much greater clarity than the Man-Thing is capable of," Ted tells him. He quickly explains that the Nexus is in danger of something called the Eldest. "She's too strong for me alone, older than anything I've ever seen, and she's awakening more in this swamp than just us," Ted explains. Back in the real world, Charlie is rushing into the waters. She's reaching for her little brother, but she suddenly stops. Wait, you're not real. Earl is dead, she whispers, and Earl rises out of the waters. His body is suspended by a red tentacle.
But you want him to be real, don't you? You all want them to be real so badly. Luckily, Charlie, finding the one place I can be real, where we can be together forever.
Earl rumbles, his voice replaced with something evil. Charlie screams as the monster rises out of the waters, a moldy body sticking out of its forehead as its massive jaws open wide for her. Charlie tries to turn and run, but the node that appears like her little brother reaches out for her, grabbing her leg, pulling her into the air.
Don't go, Charlie. It doesn't hurt. Stay with me. Stay with all of us,
he says. But inside of the Nexus, the Hulk is demanding to be released. But Ted explains that while he and Banner might think that they've just been wandering, they've actually been drawn to where these old monsters have been released. Hulk glares at him.
Let me out now,
he growls, but Ted shakes his head. I can't, Hulk. I need your help. Something is awake in the swamp, and the Nexus will fall without you. Some force has set every monster on Earth loose on you. Hulk turns, grabbing a hold of him, lifting him into the air.
No, just the stupid ones, like you!
Hulk growls as he rips Ted in half, dropping him into the waters of the Nexus. There are other monsters in the swamp besides us, Hulk. Something old and angry. So old it doesn't remember what it's angry about, just a mindless avatar of hatred and grief. Ted continues. Images then begin to appear in the water as Ted tells the story of a human girl who was chased into the swamp out of her fear of power. She died there, but instead of the peace of death, she became something more.
Then kill it,
Hulk growls, but Ted shakes his head, his body reforming as he stands.
We can't, Hulk. She's too strong for us,
Ted tells him. More images appearing, this time of a monster attacking Charlie. You came here with a girl. I bet she deserved better than to die alone in the swamp. The swamp witch is going to kill that girl. You've been a hero before, Hulk, I remember. Maybe you're willing to leave this place to its demons, but are you really gonna let that girl die? Ted asks. Back in the real world, Charlie is lifted over the monster's vast mouth. I don't want to die like this, she shouts out, but the monster tells her that no one will ever hurt again. But from the murky waters below, both Man-Thing and Hulk rise up.
Leave her alone or you're gonna hurt plenty,
Hulk growls, the monster roaring back at them, tossing Charlie away before rushing at the heroes. One of its clawed feet stabbing through Man-Thing's chest, but he grabs the claw, ripping it free, bringing a roar of pain. Hulk leaps into the air, but the node of Earl wraps around his arms, the image of the young boy leaning into the Hulk's ear.
She sees you now, fractured son. She knows you're here,
he whispers, but Hulk tears free of the tentacles, grabbing the boy, ripping him in half. He turns, leaping into the monster's mouth, grabbing it by the jaws, tearing its head apart in one smooth motion. The monster falls into the waters, dead in an instant.
There, now leave me alone,
Hulk says as he turns it back to Man-Thing. The Guardian says nothing, though, sinking beneath the waters of the wetlands. Hulk turns to find Charlie clutching a limp image of her brother, tears falling from her eyes as she apologizes for letting her brother die that day. If I wasn't so clumsy, you didn't even do anything, Earl, she whispers, pleading for him not to die again. Hulk watches, the anger leaving his body, and he begins to shift and morph as he grunts with pain until Bruce falls in the water. Hello, Bruce, a voice calls out, and both Bruce and Charlie turn with surprise as Betty Ross steps out of the shadows. You've seen better days, Betty notes, but Charlie gets to her feet, grabbing a nearby tree branch, brandishing it as a weapon. It's not real! Whoever you think it is not real! That thing is still alive! She shouts, throwing the tree branch at Betty, but Betty suddenly transforms into the Banshee, knocking the tree limb away.
Kid has your manners, Bruce,
Betty notes. She waves off Bruce's questions and peers at him.
I'm here on behalf of the eldest. She's one of us, the first abomination. Born against the will of the one above all. She knows you, Bruce. She sent me here to make a deal with you. She wants the Hulk, Betty says.
She tells Bruce that if he gives the Elder the Hulk's flesh, she will give them both new bodies.
She will come to you soon. She's offering you a chance to undo all of the awful things you've done to us. Take it,
Betty says before leaping into the air and flying away. Standing in the waters of the swamp, Bruce and Charlie watch her leave, the rain still falling on them from above as Betty disappears into the night. The horror story that is the Hulk will be continuing, and if you want to know more, make sure you like and subscribe, because this story is to be continued.